Arrays now have a .find and a .findIndex, which are really helpful in some of my projects. I don't even need to load in a utility library like Lodash. So let's take a look at what find and findIndex do. And a very common use case is when you have some sort of data that comes back from an API. So here I've got some data that comes back from Instagram, and it's a posts array where each item inside of the post is an object. And often we'll have something like, let's take this one, BAF underscore KY4, blah, 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 blah. And we want to find the entire object inside of this array. Now, because it's an object, we can't simply say posts dot the ID of the object, and we can't say anything like posts or something like that because we don't have any keys to grab things from an array because an array is always indexed based. So what we actually need to do is we will say const post equals, we take the posts and we call dot find on it. Now find is a callback where you return true or false until you actually find it. So it's going to loop over every single post that we have. And I'm going to look for the specific one that I want. So I'm going to open up a block here and then I'll refactor that because we don't actually need it. So let's say I'm going to grab this one, VBGT, and I'm going to console.log the post and just see where we're at here. Okay, so what this is doing is this looping over every single one and giving me the entire post. Then I want to say post.code. That should give me all of the codes. And then I want to say if post.code is equal to the one that we're looking for, then we will return true. Otherwise, we just can return or return false explicitly. Then I think that what that should do to us is we should now have a variable called post, and that is the actual one from our object. So now we have the entire post and we can go ahead and grab the caption or the source of the ID or the number of likes from that Instagram post. Now, this can be done a lot easier. This is sort of just explicit so you can see what's going on, but we can actually just use this post for each post, and we say, does the post.code equal to the actual one that we're looking for? So again, I'm just going to grab an ID here and paste it in there, and we should be able to just console log that post. One other improvement we can do is this probably isn't hard coded like that. We probably want to put it in a variable called code, stick it like that, and then it should be able to still find the post depending on our code. Great. That is good for finding the actual thing inside of the array. If you want to find multiple, how would you do that? Well, you would use .filter, and that would give you an array of objects instead. Next up, we have .findIndex, and that's really helpful when you actually have the item you want, but you want to know where in the array is it actually. So what we want to do is, let's say we want to delete one of these posts, and all that we know is that we have the ID or the code right here. So we need to find out where in this is it so we can delete it. So I'm going to say const post index equals post.find index. And again, I'm going to do it longhand. We'll say if post.code is equal to code, then return true. Otherwise, we can just do nothing, return, or return false explicitly. And now we should be able to find what the index is of that post. It's the 22nd post in there. We can also now go back and just say we don't need these extra parentheses here. We don't need this entire thing. Why? Because we can only return as the post.code is equal to our code. Now that we actually have the index, we could go ahead and just take that out of there. We're going to look at a spread example in the future where it shows a great way how do you just slice out one item from an array.